right now, so we'll see how many people connect. We're gonna start in a few minutes. So bear with us. So Jessica, how is everything going with your companies? You seem to be busy all the time.
I am busy all the time, and not necessarily because of the revenues, but because there's so much to do, you know, with these times. But you know, it's going as good as I could be, probably. That's the 5:30 alarm.
Okay, so 5:30 p.m. So we are still waiting for more people to connect. So I would say once we have like maybe 10 people connected, we can start.
Yeah, that's typically the alarm to pick up my daughter, so that's why it went off.
Okay.
I was trying to find the questions. I had printed or downloaded them, and so I'm just trying to find the questions. All right, here we go. And it might look like I'm not looking at the camera, but I am. But it's just that my camera is like up at top, and so it always looks like I'm not looking at the camera.
No worries, you're fine. Hi, Marsha.
Hola, Mr. Andy, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, bien, ¿y tú?
You look very handsome in your suit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the compliment.
You're
welcome. I feel
welcome.
like I look like a news anchor.
Well, this is the future for you. You're going to have your own television show.
One day. That is one of my goals. It's in my bucket list. Just kidding.
Do you have the pajama pants underneath?
I don't. I actually don't.
I'm kidding. That's the joke that we always.
Well, I came to the office. I was gonna do this from home, but I thought, well, so many distractions, like cars running and then my dog. Yeah, I just decided to come to the office and do it from here. But if I was at home, I would be probably wearing like shorts. Okay, guys, so for the ones who just joined us, we are still waiting for more people to connect. We're gonna start in a few minutes. Welcome. Daniela, how many people we have so far?
We have 16 people.
Oh, 16. Okay. I guess we can start. Right? You guys ready? What do you think?
Yep, Andy, you're go. We are recording.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Figueroa. I am a business consultant and instructor here at Mi Casa Resource Center. And I want to welcome the panelists. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to share your thoughts. And also, I want to thank the audience, the people that are joining us tonight. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Today's theme is going to be opportunities and challenges for construction businesses during times of crisis. So welcome, everyone. Okay, so before we get into the questions, I would like to share some information about Mi Casa Resource Center. So who we are, what we do, and what we offer. So Mi Casa Resource Center is a nonprofit organization that believes in the potential of all people to achieve their educational, professional, and entrepreneurial goals. The vision that we have, We envision a community where all have the power to achieve their economic goals and realize their dreams. The mission, very simple, we create pathways to opportunities. So what we do, so we basically educate, train, and support youth and adults on their path to economic success. So we do this through 3 different strategies: business, career, and also by offering support services and other educational classes. So what does the Business Pathways team do? So we as a business center, we support entrepreneurs through all the stages of business development. We help people explore, launch, and grow their business through bilingual consulting, training, and a variety of different services related, of course, to the business world. If you want to schedule an appointment or a consultation with me or one of my colleagues, you may call the 303-573-1302, or you can also go to the Mi Casa website and find us there. And just a heads up, these are free consultations. Okay, so the career pathways. So we connect youth and adults to opportunities in education and employment through workshops, intensive career readiness, and industry-specific training and one-on-one career coaching. So similar to what we do in the business department with the consultations, these are appointments catered to or tailored to business, to people that are looking for jobs, to be connected to jobs in the community. In addition to these programs, the business and the career program, we also offer English as a second language classes. We have a with Spring Institute and high school equivalency classes, which is the GED with Community College of Denver and legal clinics. All right, so some general guidelines. We want this to be a natural conversation. I want it to be really a conversation with friends and people that you feel comfortable with. I was telling Francis that I want this panel to be a natural conversation between you and the audience. And we want it to be smooth. We want it to be a good one. So if you look at the lower section of your screen, click on the chat and please write your name and the business you represent. That's really important to us. So please let us know who you are. If you don't have a business, it's okay. Just put your name and maybe the idea of a business that you may have. The second one is really important. Keep your microphone silent. And this is not a conversation between me and the panelists. We want you to be engaged. We want you to participate. And we encourage everyone to share thoughts and ideas, comments that you may have. Please put those in the chat box as well. At the end of this presentation, we're gonna do a survey. So I'm gonna ask you to please respond to those questions. This is very important to us, as we need to know if you like this, this panel, or what other programs and activities you want to see at Mi Casa. So please, if you don't mind, respond to that survey at the end of this conversation. We will send you this presentation, and just a heads up, this program is being recorded for quality purposes. I'm going to remind everyone that you can do or schedule a consultation with one of the consultants. You can call 303-573-1302, or you can actually email us at consulting@micasaresourcecenter.org. If you are a Spanish speaker, you can email us at asesorías@micasaresourcecenter.org. And by the way, we have interpretation services. So Daniela, you want to speak about that?
Absolutely. So you can find down at the bottom of your screen, you can select the glove that says interpretation. You will click there and you will find 2 options, English and Spanish. If you're a Spanish speaker, you can go ahead and click on Spanish, and the channel will send you to our interpreter, Indira, and you can hear everything in Spanish there.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you, Indira, for interpreting tonight. So I would like to start this conversation with some OSHA guidelines for construction businesses. I think it is important, even though we hear this in the community, we hear it in the news, I think it's important to just, refresh our minds in terms of what those guidelines and regulations are. In this case, the ones the OSHA, issued. So basically, they are encouraging workers to stay home if they are sick. They want you to allow workers to wear masks over their nose and mouth to prevent them from spreading the virus. Continue to use other normal control measures, including personal protective equipment or PPE, necessary to protect workers from other job hazards associated with construction activities. Advise workers to avoid physical contact with others and direct employees, contractors, visitors to increase personal space to at least 6 feet where possible. And I think this one is really important to share. Where work trailers are used, all workers should maintain social distancing while inside the trailers. So in closed spaces, you want to make sure that you maintain the distance and that you protect yourself. Promote personal hygiene. If workers do not have immediate access to soap and water for hand washing, you can provide alcohol-based hand wraps containing at least 60% alcohol. So very basic information, but I think again, it's important to share it. You can find more information about the guidelines offered by OSHA on their website. You can also call directly this number. The OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Believe me, they have amazing information. And I also realized that the information is available in Spanish. So if you are a Spanish speaker, please go to the website, find the information in Spanish. They have tons of information that is important, not only for the construction businesses, but also for everyone out there. They made a few changes to the guidelines as of May 6th, 2020. And this basically sums up, the regulations that you will find in the website. So please make sure you conduct daily health checks. They also recommend conducting a hazard assessment of the workplace. They encourage employees to wear a cloth face covering in the workplace if appropriate. They want you to implement policies and practices for social distancing in the workplace. And if you can, improve the building ventilation system. Okay, so what it means to maintain a healthy work environment. You can modify work schedules to stagger work. You can provide alternating work days or extra shifts to reduce the total number of workers on a job site at any given time. You can restrict access to reduce the number of workers in enclosed and confined areas at one time. Of course, maintain social distancing when visiting lunch trucks or construction site vendors. Limit casual social conversations that normally occur at work. And the last one is really important as well. Reduce the number of individuals at meetings, including worker orientations, to increase the distance between individuals. What I've been suggesting to business owners is that they can use technology. They can use tools like Zoom, the one we're using now, in order to host meetings, in order to talk to their customers, their potential clients, etc. So I encourage everyone to use technology, if it is Zoom, Facebook, whatever you think is appropriate for your needs. And this is information provided by the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Again, I'm including the link so you can go to their website and find out more about how to maintain a healthy work environment. All right, so one of the reasons as to why we decided to have these panel discussions is because we knew that with the COVID-19 pandemic, businesses were about to face huge challenges, right? And not only the construction industry, but some of those challenges that businesses are still facing, have to do with labor shortages, difficulty procuring certain construction materials, and supply chain disruptions, and of course, an overall general financial downturn. And even, the fact that we are facing these challenges, the construction industry is still thriving in Colorado. It keeps rolling in Colorado despite the COVID-19, which is great news. but that doesn't mean that, we are back to normal. So I think this conversation that we are about to have is going to be important for you, the audience, to learn strategies, tips, and things you can implement in your own business. Find more information here in the link provided. And now let's get to the panel discussion. So I'm gonna be introducing the panelists. And once we finish with the introductions, I'm gonna start asking the questions. All right, so we have Jessica Costa. Jessica, welcome. Thank you for your time and for being here with us. Jessica Costa is a serial entrepreneur and accomplished leader with significant experience in guiding diverse business operations. She is also the founder and CEO of Environmental Consulting Services, LLC, Costa Group, and Edifice 2120. She is a business professional with more than 17 years of progressive experience in the construction industry and exceptional judgment to execute the projects, diverse projects. Jessica, thank you again for joining us tonight. Do you want to add anything?
No, thank you. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me.
And by the way, Jessica is one of the board members, so thank you. Thank you for always supporting MICASA in the community.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, also, I want to give a shout out to my fellow board member that's on the call that joined us today, Shad. I want to thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks, Jessica. I look forward to hearing your presentation with the others. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Chad, thank you for being with us. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Great. All right. Joining us tonight is also Jose Guzman. Jose Guzman is a young 19-year-old entrepreneur with experience in many scopes of the industry. He's the owner and operator of Guzman Consulting LLC. He has 4 years of professional development with large players in the industry and 2 years of a small business ownership. I have to say this, when I was communicating with Jose Guzman via email, he said, I don't think I'm the right person to be in this panel discussion. I'm not an expert. And I said, well, everyone has valuable opinions. So I'm sure that, you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of, just insights that you can share. And I'm sure that this information is going to be helpful to the audience. So thank you, Jose Guzman, for joining us tonight. Do you want to add anything?
No, thank you so much for the introduction. Yeah, he insisted on me being here, so I'm here. Like I said, I only have 2 years of ownership experience, and actually my 4 years of professional development were working for Mortensen Construction, all the way from being, an assistant in the office down to project manager. So I have a little bit of everything, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. And one of the goals is to motivate, participants tonight. So I feel like, the fact that you're a young entrepreneur, speaks volumes about yourself, and it also motivates, people that are, part of this conversation tonight. There might be some people that are unsure about starting a business, and if everybody can do it, right, Jose?
Everybody can do it, yeah.
All righty, welcome. All right, we also have Omar Moreno, Tracking Operations Manager for Iron Woman. He oversees the implementation of efficient operations while retaining quality standards, enforces job site safety, prepares estimates for transportation projects, and develops key performance indicators to ensure quality. Omar is also a business advisor for the Alianza Committee with the City of Thornton, assisting Hispanic business owners with access to capital, business services, and classes. He's also a member of the HCC, which is the Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. Omar, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Do you want to add anything else to the bio?
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Danielle Limachi. Danielle is a career navigator with the Center for Workforce Initiatives with the Community College of Denver. So this is our amazing panel. Again, we're gonna have fun. And I hope that by the end of this conversation, the audience walk away with ideas and strategies that they can implement in their own businesses. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're gonna start with the questions. All right. So when I decided what questions I was gonna ask to the panelists, I kind of divided this into three different categories. The first one is challenges and lessons learned. I think it is important for experienced business owners in this industry to share what is going on with their businesses given the COVID-19 pandemic and all the things that we are going through because of that. So the first question that I want to ask you is, what is the biggest challenge you have faced during the COVID-19 crisis? And Jessica, if we can start with you, that'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, I want to start by saying, by telling Jose that you should most definitely be here because, first of all, we all start somewhere. And I truly admire the fact that you decided to start your own business at such a young age. I wish I would have. But also, I know that you have a lot to share with the different phases of any business. So I think that you bring a lot to the table. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I similarly like you, I started in a clerical position and worked my way up to a project manager until I started my company. We also have, as part of our board members, we have David Espinosa, who's with Mortenson. I don't know if you had a chance to work with them when you were with the company.
I actually did get to work with David. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Awesome. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I told you that. To your question, Andy, as far as the biggest challenge that we as a company have faced is, I think, similar to what most businesses are experiencing, which is the loss of revenues. Although construction is considered an essential business, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that we kept our revenues or that we continue business as usual, because that's not the case. There's a lot of limitations that we've had. And in fact, today I was on a call with some of the state representatives to communicate the struggles that a lot of my fellow business owners are going through, and the need for a second round of PPP, because I was talking to another construction company that they're experiencing, although they were doing very good, now they're not getting paid. And so those are some of the challenges that we are experiencing. So the loss of revenue, but also in construction, since we have a lag in the payment, is 45 to 60 or sometimes even 90 days until we get paid. We already invest that money in paying our employees and buying materials and getting all the bills paid essentially. But if the clients stop paying us, now we're in big trouble. So those are the kind of challenges that we are experiencing right now.
Thank you, Jessica. Who wants to go next?
I can feed off of that. I definitely can see that. We've seen actually the same thing. We'll be good, but we get a lag of payment, and we kind of have to stop the future of the job. I work with mostly subcontractors, so that's another huge thing that I saw. Most of my subcontractors stopped working for at least a week or two, which meant that my projects had to stop for a week or two. And I work on a lot of smaller projects, so I did have a lot of canceled projects because of this.
Thank you, Jose. Daniel?
Yes, thank you, Andy. I would like to, before talking about this specific question, a little bit more about what we are doing. Yes, I work as a career navigator in a Center for Workforce Initiatives in the Community College of Denver. But I'm here today because I'm representing Work Now, which is a big program. Work Now starts about 2 years and 3 months. In the moment that in Colorado we're facing a very big challenge. And this is, we have a lot of things to do, a lot of construction works to do, but we don't have enough people to do the job. So we are creating a program with two main goals. One is invite people to come to the construction and work on it. And the second goal, I think, is even more important, is invite people to build a career in construction. It's not just a job for 1-2 years. It's a career that will help the industry and the person, the workers, for their families. And that's what we do. We have lots of steps, and we are helping a lot. We start with 3 or 4 partners and 2 years ago, and we have now 25 partners, including Mikasa. And also we start with a couple of workers in our list, and we have more than 1,600 people right now and helping them. So the big challenge in this moment facing COVID-19 is the social distance. We used to work for 2 years and have the meetings, interviews, and helping people face to face, following forms and asking what do you want to do. But we need to stop one day, and we need to start doing this remotely, using Zoom, using phone calls or connection with internet. And that's a very big challenge for us. We have a lot of people who are looking for a job, for example, 20 years of experience in concrete, they don't know how to use the computer. They don't know how to use anything but talking person to person, and that's a big challenge for us. And the lesson we are learning this is, well, we need to find the way to be in contact with our guys, our people.
Thank you, Daniel. Awesome. So now let's go to the second question under the challenges and lessons learned. I think we lost Homer. Hopefully he's gonna connect back soon. So the second question that Daniel just responded is, what is the lesson or lessons you have learned during the COVID-19 crisis? Jessica?
I think one of the biggest lessons is to not be set on something, to think fast on your feet, I guess. Is being able to adapt to what the new situation is, the new reality. So that's been the biggest lesson. I don't know that, I've known that throughout my life, but certainly it was reinforced with COVID. But yes, that's the biggest takeaway, that nothing is guaranteed. Even as good as everything was going for most businesses and the economy and the unemployment and all that, nothing is guaranteed. So being able to adjust and hopefully adjust quickly, instead of mourning the losses of what we thought was going to be. Instead of doing so, we gotta quickly assess the situation and act on taking what your next plan B or C or D is going to be. That's been the biggest lesson for me.
Thank you, Jessica. Jose?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I would say a biggest thing as far as lessons would be, I guess you always take into consideration your workers' safety as far as on the job site, but you'd never really think about health conditions or anything that can affect your job site in the future. So it's definitely a huge lesson to learn that you should always be cautious that a health condition can stop your whole project or something like this,
Absolutely. Omar? Oh, I don't think he's connected. But you guys made really good points. I think for me as a consultant, I've seen that a lot of business owners didn't have a plan B, right? Especially when it comes to technology. We know that given the crisis with the COVID-19, we have to use technology. We have to be able to at least, understand the basics of the technologies that we are using, such as Facebook, Instagram, Zoom. Just think about meetings. Think about, having, just discussions with your customers or clients. I think it's important to take that into consideration. Something that I share with the team is the fact that this COVID-19 actually forced, some of those business owners to become a business of the 21st century by, incorporating those technologies in the business. Some didn't have a website, some didn't have a Facebook. So I think it's important to just always be ready, even though, we can prepare, but things, come our way, and we may have a hard time, solving those issues, but it's better to have a plan. Awesome. So next, so these are questions related to health and business operations during this crisis. So the first one here is, how are you keeping employees and clients safe? Jessica.
So along the same lines of what you just said, it's definitely important to have a plan, but most importantly is to have a contingency plan. That I think that's part of one of my biggest lessons, that I realized that, while most of us could have never prepared for something like this, even if we had a contingency plan. But I also realized that a lot of us, the smaller companies, don't have such a thing. When I first heard of it, I said, well, what's a contingency plan? However, a lot of large corporations have this, and a contingency plan is exactly that. It's a plan that helps you react to some of the unknown, some of the things that may arise along the way. I've seen just a variety of things in these contingency plans that I've been utilizing to create mine. But yes, I mean, even those, the largest companies and the best companies in the world were not prepared for something like this. I don't think it was anything that we expected, but definitely it's up there with my biggest lessons as a business owner. So I would strongly advise that if you're a business owner, you definitely put one in place, even as simple as it may be, or complex as you want it to be, but definitely always have a plan B so that you can be prepared for something. Hopefully we'll never experience something like this again, but and I can't say never, because obviously, as we found out, we did have another pandemic in the earlier years. So that's not to say that it won't happen again, but at least be prepared for something. Hopefully not something of this magnitude. But as far as your question on how to keep employees and clients safe, I think it's that what most businesses are doing, sending the people that could work from home. And as far as clients, we've been communicating a lot through these same lines of communication, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of, all the platforms that you can video conference in. I have them on my computer, because everybody utilizes something different, but I never even knew there were so many. I didn't know how to operate all of them either, but I've been acquainted fairly quickly to all of those. So that's how we are keeping our clients safe. Fortunately, for the type of work that we do, also, it doesn't require a lot of interaction. Well, it does and it doesn't. So we can operate in the way that when my inspectors go on site, typically they would walk with the clients, so with the contractors, to find what needed attention in terms of compliance, environmental compliance. And so what we're doing now is we're walking the site alone. We're doing the inspections on our own, and then we send the report. So that's essentially how we're handling that. In some projects, I was already being done in a way, because sometimes the project contact was not available, so the inspector would walk the site on their own and just send the report later. But that is how we are managing that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. I think Omar is back. Omar, the question for you guys is, how are you keeping employees and clients safe? So how is it working for you guys in your organization?
Perfect. Sorry about that. So pretty much, I mean, keeping the employees, that's been a tough one. I think mostly giving out hand sanitizers. We, you know, from day one when this started happening, what the COVID is, we started doing personal hand sanitizers. We offer refills. We have spray bottles, disinfectants that they spray their trucks, right? We're in the construction industry of transportation. So what we tell these guys is, when you spray your truck in the morning, let it sit for 10 minutes. In the afternoon, you get back. I know you're the only person that's been in there, but other people are going to be getting in there, like mechanics, moving the truck, or we're double shifting, spray the truck, let it sit for another 10 minutes until it dries out. Not only that, but we've been giving out masks. We've also given out masks to some clients on job sites, as we're requiring and making 6 feet when possible.
Thank you, Omar. Jose, any comments?
Well, for me, it's a little different. I actually work with mostly subcontractors, so I don't have many employees. I actually only have one employee other than myself. And as far as clients, I'm the only one that talks to clients, so I do everything virtually when I can. But you know, safe masks and the distancing is all we do for the majority of it.
Awesome.
My subs on the site, they never do talk to clients, so that's kind of on their terms for their policies, you know.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. Daniel, so what are the recommendations in your organization? So what are you guys recommending?
Oh, yes.
Safe.
Well, our main office is in CCD, which is closed for more than 2 months already, but we still helping our workers, providing tools or booths or you know, transportation vouchers, whatever they need. So we create a system. So we are using the technology now. We need to make they need to be an appointment, and we have 3 different days during the week that we are having meetings and providing all these resources. So we are following the guidelines of social distance, for example. Yeah, but we're still doing with.
Thank you, Daniel. So I think you already responded to question number 2, but I just want to ask you to make sure this is a requirement for your employees, if you have employees. So are you required to wear masks while working on a project? Is that a requirement?
Yeah, so I don't want to jump the gun with your other questions, but I feel like some of them are interrelated. And the answer is yes. So similar to the guidelines that you mentioned, you know, that OSHA came up with, there's also a set of guidelines that AGC, which is the Association of General Contractors, and other agencies that are specific to construction have come up with. And so essentially the entire industry has to follow these guidelines. So there's the OSHA guidelines, there's the CDC guidelines, and then there's the safety guidelines for Colorado construction. That these were put together by HTC, AGC, and CCA, which they're all, I know that if you're not in the industry, you're not familiar with all of that, but they're all trade organizations that are part of the construction industry. So essentially with that, we are required to wear masks along with several other things that we should follow, for example, like the distancing of the 6 feet as much as possible. And I know a lot of my clients, which typically are general contractors, have each of them send out their plan for staying safe during these times. So a lot of construction companies, we have worked on putting together a plan like that, But they in that plan is sent to everybody that is going to be working on any specific project, and then it tells you the requirements for that project or for that contractor and what the expectations are. So obviously anybody on that project has to follow those, and that includes wearing masks along with the other stuff that I mentioned.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Anyone else that want to comment on that specific topic? I want to skip the last question. So we're going to continue with health and business operations. So the next one is, how do I clean and disinfect machinery or equipment? And I think it's more about what kind of chemicals are you guys using, if you're using any. Is that something that you do every single day? How's that working for you, Jessica? Or
Well, I
anybody
can
else?
tell you I have my stuff here. So this is some of the stuff that I utilize, and some of the stuff that Omar mentioned. So yes, we also handed out the hand sanitizer, the mask, and then some of the disinfecting wipes for the vehicles that the employees utilize on site.
Great. Jose?
Well, yeah, basically we use the hand sanitizer, but I do have all my employees washing down all our equipment, just with the basic disinfectant that I got, just basic disinfectant at the supply store. But I do have them washing down all our tools that we use every day, wiping down our drills and all that, just to stop, sometimes you let someone else use the drill and they can get anything. So we keep them sanitized.
Great, thank you, Jose. Daniel?
Well, we don't have machinery equipment in our, we are working remotely from home, but anyway, we have some meetings like tomorrow, we are going to have a big resume workshop. So we are helping people who needs the resume, but they don't have it in order to apply for jobs in construction. So we are going to have our meeting, but with big distancing in between one another and wearing masks and, observing all these precautions to avoid infections.
Great. Are you guys doing anything else in addition to cleaning the surfaces, the machinery or equipment? What else are you guys doing in order to, keep people safe?
As I mentioned, we specifically put together the COVID response plan, essentially, and it's just that the guidance on how we're going to operate. There's a lot of resources, thank goodness, out there that have been shared within the industry, and also I can share those in the chat room if somebody is interested. But again, through HCC and through AGC, they have put together a large number of resources that help businesses like mine and Jose with this process. So what we've done, we just followed the process of putting together a best practices during COVID time plan, and that's essentially what we're following and utilizing for keeping both our clients and employees safe.
Great. Omar, I know Idle Woman is a big corporation. So what are you guys doing in terms of safe and healthy? Do you have any policies in place?
I mean, our risk management division has really put in place. I mean, we're from cutting machinery, excavators, to mining, and of course truck driving. So we're on the ground, we're in cabs, and it's just, I was grinning because it's a big variety of stuff. I mean, we provided, like I said, and I'll repeat myself, hand sanitizer. I was laughing because right under my desk, I'll show you guys, I got gallons of hand sanitizer just when guys are coming in, refilling. This machine I have, we're actually doing fogging. I'll show you guys. I have my mask here that I wear when everybody's outside of the office. I mean, I've taken responsibility of this office, because we do our trucks, we do our wipe down. We have a big supply of alcohol wipes that we're providing, just because a lot of our drivers are getting out, dropping trailers, hooking up. They don't know the proper way or who's been touching it, right? And nobody really knows the proper way to clean this. That's a big factor that I think we've been running into. I don't know if all you other panelists have run into this, but really no one has really said, hey, this is the proper way to do it. All they're doing is just recommendations, right? So we've been taking all the recommendations and we've been giving our people the tools that they need to feel comfortable. Pretty much is personally what I say is the comfort level. And I respect every single asset that we have. And when I say assets, it's employees, because our employees are more valuable assets. I mean, we still got people working from home. We got people that are wanting to come back to the office. So we've been asking, if they do come back to the office, wear the masks. And there's a lot of things out on the machine is that we've given out flyers to you guys. When you machine, you wipe down the handle, you wipe down the steering wheel, you wipe down the seat before you sit in it, right? And then you do the same procedure when you get out. You wipe down the seat, you wipe down the handle, just backwards.
Great, thank you, Omar. Well, I think I skipped a slide. Give me a sec. Okay, so how are you restoring confidence in your customers? Jose, what are you doing in terms of like restoring the confidence with your customers, in this case, your subcontractors as well?
Yeah, definitely. So at least for me to be able to make sure that they feel safe, I do ask them before I come up anywhere closer than, pretty far away. Is this like, can I walk up? Can we talk? I do wear masks around anybody that we talk to. And also the confidence from my customers especially comes from ensuring that my subcontractors have their plans ready for controlling everything. So as far as my subs, they have a variety. I do have some subs that are going into full mode where they only allow one person on the job site per day. And those are my electrical and my plumbers. They're only allowing one person out on the job site per day. And that really helps put the confidence back to my customers. They feel a lot safer just having the one person on the job site. And as far as my contractors, I do let them put in, like I said, as long as they're good enough to pass the OSHA guidelines and the guidelines that the CDC has given us. If they do want to put in stricter policies, I totally go for it, and they can. That's why I do allow them to do their own policies.
Great, thank you. Jessica, what about you?
I mean, it's a little different because we're more like business to business. And my customers are general contractors. So as I mentioned before, they have taken the lead on stating what's going to be followed as far as interaction with them and on the job site. But certainly, I mean, the social distancing, wearing masks, and then doing as much as possible the video conferencing. So we just had a pre-bid meeting this morning for a couple of projects, and it was done via video conference. I've also found that I always say there's always a silver lining. So this whole thing has allowed me to attend more meetings and be in more contact with my clients, because you know, it's easier to jump from one meeting to another back to back. Whereas before, you know, if I have a meeting in Aurora and another one in, I don't know, Castle Rock or whatever for a different project, you know, it would have to be scheduled on a different day. So, you know, there is a silver lining. And then another thing that I found very helpful is that now I can jump on a Zoom call with the client and share screens, and I can walk them through different processes that they have to do for permitting and stuff like that. So there is a silver lining that's allowed me to, you know, attend to earlier meetings because, you know, after dropping off my daughter, and also later meetings after picking her up. So yes, but in terms of the restoring the confidence, that's what we're doing, just following the best practices guideline.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. And I think you were talking about technology and communicating with customers. So do you recommend any platforms, any besides Zoom, that people can use in order to keep that communication going? Omar, Jessica, whoever wants to answer this question.
I think it depends on the budget. You know, some of the bigger companies that I know of, they are utilizing Teams because I know there were some safety issues with Zoom. But you know, Zoom is free, and some of the other platforms are free. Whereas the other ones, I'm not sure what the cost may be, but I know there might be different levels of memberships. For me personally, I have not had to purchase any of them because typically the client is the one that is generating those meetings. So that helps out that my clients are all general contractors. But I guess the one that I utilize when it's interaction with, say, my subcontractors or someone else that I have to generate that, I use Google Meets because that's attached to my email and the platform that I utilize for my email. So that one is very convenient because when you send the calendar invite, it automatically generates the link to a video conference, which I didn't even know about this feature, but I found out when I was talking to a subcontractor, and I had set up a meeting, send out the calendar invite. The time came, and I called via phone, and he says like, "Oh, I'm in the chat room waiting for you." And I'm like, "Oh, what chat room?" So I wasn't even aware, but then I found out that when I sent the calendar invite, he got the link for the video call, and that was very helpful because again, we could share screens and go over documents side by side.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Anybody else wants to add about this communication aspect?
I would like to say something about the confidence in our customers and our members of Work Now. Our physical office is closed, but our program is not. We are still in communication with all our members and providing them help or resources at any time. So our strategy was to be in contact with them, sending emails, texts, making calls, saying, "Hey, we're still here for you and we can count on us."
Great, thank you, Daniel. Jose, any comments?
I can definitely vouch for Google Meets. That's what I use with my architect. We meet probably weekly, have hour-long, few hours, and it doesn't cut out or anything. It's the best platform I've used, at least.
Great, thank you, thank you. Well, the bottom line is you can use these technologies, right? Whatever the platform is, or the strategy, make sure you are using the one that is convenient for you and your business. So the next, yes?
Sorry, I wanted to say something else along those lines. This is because I recently attended a training with one of my clients. I think most importantly, besides the platform that you utilize, is that you are prepared with the right hardware. I think sometimes it's more important. So the internet connection one, that is a reliable one, that, you know, it's not going to be cutting you off in the middle of the call. Because that's really embarrassing if you're talking to a client and it drops and you have to call back, or if you're with a group of people, even more so. But so definitely the internet connection is one. And then the other one is the tool. So to make sure that you have good lighting, if that means purchasing an additional light, you know, we all have built-in cameras and microphones and whatnot, but at least in this training that I was in, they did recommend to purchase additional or, you know, whatever, depending on the setting that you had. But typically when you're working from home, the lighting might not be the best, and the microphone or the speakers, you know. And then the cameras, I know that I have been in the search of some of that equipment, and I was looking at some cameras that they have the auto zoom, so as you move it kind of like zooms in and out, and you know, that's for better. I also mentioned at the beginning of the call, like the camera is out there, so I have been looking for a camera myself, because that improves the interaction with whoever's on the other side. And what else? Yeah, essentially just the hardware. Oh, and the background. You know, on some of these platforms, you can utilize a virtual background. However, sometimes it's not very
High quality. Yeah.
exactly very high quality, because when you move, like half of your face doesn't show, and it all varies depending on the lighting. But yes, I mean, in some now you're able to blur your background, and but I would say, like, at least be aware of where you're going to be, so that when you're on an important call, your background is not the distraction for your whoever you're calling.
Great, thank you, Jessica. So I want to make a pause here and remind people that they can ask questions, they can put their comments in the chat box. So please let us know what those questions are. At the end of this conversation, we're gonna have the opportunity to open it up for Q&A, and the panelists are gonna answer your questions. So I feel like we have covered pretty much everything. If you can see the questions in the screen, those are related to the things that we have been discussing. We're talking about, such as technology, you know, different marketing strategies. But I want to go in depth about the marketing strategies, because I know that might look different now that we are in this COVID-19 crisis than before. So if, you know, anyone can take the floor and just talk about the marketing strategies that you guys are implementing in your own businesses.
I don't know about marketing strategies, but I know there is a couple questions on the chat, so I wanted to address those. The first question says, like, what are you doing to generate new business? And the second, is it difficult to find new opportunities outside of repeat business? For the first one, I'm trying to come up with ways on how do I add other services that I didn't have before, so that I can replace some of that lost revenue. So that's what we're working on. I'm working on certifying my inspectors on other aspects, so that we can offer additional services that we didn't have prior to this. And then as far as, is it difficult to find new opportunities outside of the repeat business? I would say yes, because at least personally for me, the cycle sell is kind of, you know, it's a whole process, and that typically is the networking and meeting a new potential client, and then that whole follow-up, you know, all the touches that we are advised as far as creating a relationship. And then so with COVID, you can't really do that as much as I did before. But then after that, I made a potential client, and create a relationship. Then there has to be an opportunity in which I can bid on. And there, if low bid or the best bid, then I can get a contract. So because of that process and due to the limitations of COVID, yes, it's difficult to find at least new clients.
That's right. Thank you, Jessica. Daniela, would you mind helping us with the questions on the chat box, please? Do we have any other questions?
Of course, yes, we have some questions. Let me go back a little bit because we have an important one from Maria. So she's saying, I want to share my big concern and compare with you guys if you have the same problem. Some of my subcontractors believe in conspiracy theories about virus doesn't exist or is something minor. I try to educate them, but it's difficult. With me, they take all the precautions, but I'm afraid they don't take care of their health outside of the job. Any advice?
And anybody else can jump in and answer the question. That's a valid question, but I don't know how you can help, when someone believes in conspiracy theories. I don't know, that's gonna be hard to change their mind.
Yeah,
I want to give opportunity for others to talk, so I can let my
Can
fellow.
you repeat that last portion of that question? Sorry, I didn't hear it. So what I heard is the concern is, the employees are not taking care of themselves before they come to work. Was that the main question? Or there was a couple of questions in one question, right?
So yeah, what Maria is asking, she is worried because the subcontractors believe in conspiracy theories. So she's afraid the employees are not taking care of themselves before coming to the workplace. They do take care precautions while working, but she's afraid they don't follow those precautions before.
Yeah, I would say, see, what I tell my employees is if we all take our precautions of washing our hands, wiping down surfaces before we touch them, I think, that's a very hard question, because everybody has their own opinions of the COVID. And I would say what I tell our team is, we got to be kind, we got to be respectful, because there's people that certainly take it serious, and there's other people that are not taking it serious at all. But I think we just got to be respectful of everybody's opinion.
Thank you, Omar.
I think it's a really hard question to answer. Just it's more towards I guess their opinions and their beliefs. But I guess what I would say, at least for me, all I can say to my employees and my subcontractors is I tell them that there's a minimum that we have to do, and that's the social distancing and the masks. I understand that there's other things that people are doing that you might not think are required, or you might think are required, and that's up to you. But there is definitely a minimum that we should all be doing.
I agree. Thank you, Jose. Daniela, do we have any more questions?
Yes. Next question. What are you doing to generate new businesses? Is it difficult to find new opportunities outside of repeat business from existing customers?
So question number one is, what are you doing to generate new business?
Right.
So Jessica kind of touched on this, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing for me. And also for the marketing part of it, at least for my business, I have had to do a lot more online marketing, posting a lot more pictures of work that I do and all of that. It's come to the point where I've done more online marketing than I do anything else marketing. So that's definitely something new for my company.
Great, thank you. Omar? Any thoughts? I don't know, we still have Omar. Jessica, any thoughts, any ideas?
So you asked about the marketing piece. I already responded the two questions, but you did ask about the marketing piece. And as far as the marketing, for me, it's been difficult because I've always focused on creating relationships. That is the way that I manage my business and really grow my business. I focus on building relationships. I feel like that's where my marketing dollars are best spent. And so a lot of the marketing dollars were utilized towards interacting with clients in whichever way that was possible, whether it was going to a trade association meeting or, maybe taking lunch and doing lunch and learns at their office, or just doing something to interact with clients. And so now that's become really difficult because I have never really utilized some of the online marketing. I feel like it doesn't apply necessarily to my business as it does more with like the business to consumer type of business. And so so I'm still trying to figure out other than picking up the phone and calling them and sending out emails about although I haven't sent out too many because I've been getting myself a lot of an overwhelming amount of COVID-19 related emails, so I don't want to be just one more email that is going to overwhelm their inbox, but picking up the phone and giving them a call just to check in, really. That has been my marketing strategy, but I still haven't come up with another plan yet. Once I do have the new services up and running, then I do plan on doing more of a marketing campaign to make them aware of that.
Great, thank you. Daniela, what was the second part of that question?
So I don't know if it's well written, but it says, is it difficult to find new opportunities outside of repeat business from existing customers? Here, I can share with you again in the chat box.
Yeah, I can see it. I answered that question too. So I think that question was from Chad, and it was just like, I think what he's asking here is it difficult to find new business outside of the existing clients, so repeat business from existing clients. And I answer that. So I'll let Jose or Omar speak to that.
I would charm in on that. I would say it is, because a lot of people are holding their funds because they just don't know what to expect. And, luckily for us at Iron Woman, we have long-term contracts. So that's really what's been keeping us afloat and really successful right now is that our contracts are, ongoing. But outside of that, it is a challenge because a lot of people are holding or a lot of people are pulling funds. They're saying, hey, we're going to wait till next season. So it has been difficult on that. And mostly a lot of the work that is happening with existing customers. I have not seen doing work with really new customers.
Good point. Thank you, Omar. Anybody else wants to add?
I would definitely say it's a lot more difficult now. You can't go out and obviously network as much, but as far as new businesses, most people nowadays they're not going to try out a new contractor or a new company. If they really need to get a job done right now, they're going with what they know, is what I've seen so far. I've actually came in with a couple estimates better than other contractors, but they still choose the other contractor just because they've already worked with them, and they're not sure of what's going to happen with this whole COVID.
So it is more difficult to get new clients. Okay, thank you, everyone. Daniela, I see another really good question. Do you want to read it?
Yes. Is it difficult to find new opportunities outside? Oh, sorry, that's the question I. What advice will you give to someone barely starting the businesses in COVID-19 times?
That is a good question. So will you recommend someone, let's say, Andy Figueroa wants to start a construction business? It's not a good time. I know that it's going to be hard, but what is your opinion?
I would say yes, go for it, because a lot of the bigger companies that we now see were built on the last recession, you know, in the 2008, 2009, because they figure out a need that needed to be filled. So yes, totally. If they have figured out what a way to fill a need that came up from COVID or that wasn't being fulfilled prior to, yes, I started my business not right in the middle, but we were still in the recession, and I've been able to survive this far. So yes, I would say go for it. And in fact, you know, I would encourage it. If you know, if you have an idea, or if you know of a need that you could potentially fulfill with the new business idea, I would say totally go for it, because like I said, some of the largest companies that we know now were built during the last recession.
Any other recommendations to start a business in times of crisis? Any other ideas?
I would just definitely say, as long as the opportunities match your motivation for whatever job you're doing, go for it. As long as you're motivated to do what you love and it's what you love to do, you'll be able to survive in any type of economical downfall.
Good point. Thank you, Omar. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say if you have the resources, go for it, right? Because I think that's pretty much one of some of the struggles that I've been seeing as well. Because a lot of people on unemployment don't want to come back to work. So if you have the resources and you have the clientele or your customers are willing to go, then go for it.
Great, thank you. The last person was Omar, and also Jose gave his opinion. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have another great question. Daniela?
Do you see economy recovering in the next quarter? Do you think the second wave in the fall is gonna hit again and affect us again?
So to the first question, certainly not. I think that this is going to have a longer term effect. I don't think we're even past through the point of stabilization. So I certainly don't see recovery within the next quarter. I think it's going to be more in the next 18 months to 2 years to start seeing some of that. As far as the second wave, I think that's $1 million question. I wish I had one of those balls that you can ask the question and see. You know, I pray that we don't, but I think that that's not something that I personally could predict.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, I definitely don't see this as a short-term thing. The economy will probably take a lot longer than just this to recover. We're probably not even done with the first part of it. And yeah, as far as the second fall, I would expect the second fall probably to lower the economy a little more. But again, nobody can really know exactly what's going to happen.
That is correct. Thank you, Jose. Daniel, do you have any advice, any thoughts?
I'm not representing any company right now, but I will say something I heard a long time ago, and it's this: the opportunity is right now. The time is right now. If you are looking for a better times, you can live all for years and doing nothing. So every time we have challenges, every time we have something difficult to do, but at the same time, every time it's showing you new opportunities. I think that's my advice.
Thank you, Daniel. All right. Daniela, do we have any more questions?
No more questions.
Okay, great. Anything else that you want to add? Jose, Jessica, Omar, Danielle? Any advice that you want to offer to the people that join us tonight?
I'll jump in on that. I'll say, it's the preach that I've had for my whole team is right now. It's a time. I mean, I think I can speak for everybody when I say the following is, I think everybody was doing pretty good. I think everybody was doing well. The last year, I would say 2 years, the economy's been great. And I think COVID has come, and I didn't chime in when you guys were answering that question, because that is a tough question. And if we, like Jessica said, if we had a crystal ball, I think it'd be a different story. But I think this came and kind of said, hey, slow down, pause, and stop, and kind of put your feet on the ground. And this ain't going anywhere. This is going to be the new norm. And I think it's challenging. Everybody's thinking outside the box. Everybody's really thinking, stopping and saying, okay, what's my next move? Like that question. Very good question. Is it a good time to start a construction company? Well, not like and you have the way to go for it. And I think that's the same thing everybody's challenging. Well, whether it's a new business or an existing business, you're pretty much sitting on a square and thinking about your next move. When before, I would say 6 months ago, we weren't really thinking about our next move. We were thinking about 5 moves ahead of us, right? Because things were really well. And I think it's a time to reflect not only on work, but family and our blessings around us. So I think this time has come to stop and say, hey guys, what are we really doing, and what does our heart want to do going forward, and how are we going to take this?
I absolutely agree with you, Omar. Thank you for sharing. Any last words from your panelists, Jessica, Jose, and Daniel?
As I mentioned earlier, I was on a call with some of the state reps yesterday, and this morning, and the outlook is not very bright. It seems like it's gonna get worse before it gets better. However, it will get better. But just like Daniel mentioned, where there's challenge, it lies the opportunity. So yes, I think there's always a silver lining. There's always the opportunity. It's just the way that you decide to look at things. I think that if you decide to do something, do it now. Don't wait for this to go back to normal, because it may never actually, in fact, most likely it won't go back to normal. So I think it's just adapting, as like Omar mentioned too, is like this was kind of like a wake-up call for everybody, and a call to reinvent ourselves, and a call to reevaluate ourselves, kind of like, what are your priorities? If everything is, if the whole world is put at a standstill, what are the priorities at the end of the day? And that's always that. Even prior to this, I always, in times of challenge, I would always go back to, especially being a business owner, I would always ask myself, like, if everything failed, what would I be left with? And so, and those are, at the end of the day, those are our priorities, and that's where we should focus on. And then everything else will work itself out. But it's all in the outlook that you see challenges with, and you know, if also just to reiterate what Jose said, if you're somebody that that likes to work, that wants to put in the work, it doesn't matter what type of economic environment we're in, you will succeed.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for your advice and for your words. I think you're right. I feel like this is a time to reinvent ourselves and our businesses. And, you know, whenever I meet with clients, most of them are small business owners, let's say in the construction industry. And what I realized is that they didn't have a website, they didn't have a presence online. And I think for me, it was so important to encourage them to do that, right? Hey, you need to have a website, you need to have a Facebook. Now is the time. And basically the COVID-19 forced, you know, these small business owners to have a presence online, which is really important, especially, you know, given this pandemic, to communicate, to sell their services, and to keep their business afloat. So I think that's really important. So thank you, Jessica. Jose?
Well, I would keep it basically on the same theme as far as reconstructing, you know, something new. This is something new that we got on our desks and we got to deal with it. So I always got taught, if there's a crisis, that means that there can be success because there's something that needs to be filled, a void that needs to be filled. So that means if you have a way to, you know, an innovative way to reconstruct your business or reconstruct yourself or anything like that, it's definitely a good time to do so and a good time to come up with new ideas. You should never limit yourself to what's already in the industry, and you should never be scared to try something new. Failing is not a bad thing, so why should you be? And my last advice would be, anybody can do it, no matter where you come from, no matter what resources. There's always resources out there. For example, Mi Casa is a great center. And keep looking for resources, and anybody can do it.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. And I think you are a great example of a young entrepreneur, you know, that really took that step and became a business owner. And I want to say congratulations to you, because, you know, that is not easy. And having a business is like marrying a woman, right? Or marrying a man. It's really hard, and you have to keep like working on it for as long as you have it, right? And you have to innovate. You have to continue developing systems. And yeah, I mean, the competition out there is really, really strong. So the innovation is key when it comes to business. So thank you, Jose. Now, Daniel, do you have any last words?
Yes, more than advice, I will say some kind of message. We are working basically in the construction industry, helping workers and helping business, no matter what the size of the business. And because we believe that's the right thing to do. And we started 2 years ago in trying to solve some crisis, and we have a new crisis right now. But we're still here for you guys. And if you are an owner of a small business in construction, contact us, because we can help you to hire people, to help your new people to start the job, and to train those people in order to be make a career and help you guys. So we're still here. We have no decision to give up in any way. So that's the one to say.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for being part of this panel discussion tonight. So what is next? So we have another panel discussion coming up next week on Tuesday, June 16th. That's going to be on retail. If you're in the retail industry, please join us. You can go to the Mi Casa website, www.micasaresourcecenter.org/calendar, and you can register for this conversation with my coworker, Kelly Lanier. That's happening on Tuesday, June 16th. So keep that in mind. And before you go, as I said in the beginning, we're gonna send you a survey. I think we already sent you the link, right, Daniela?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, so please go ahead and click on the link. You're gonna see a few questions. Please answer those questions. For us, your feedback is really important in order to decide like what kind of programs, what kind of services we can provide to you as business owners, and to also see if you like this kind of panel discussion. So I really appreciate everyone that was part of this conversation tonight, especially the panelists and the audience, the participants.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And before you leave, just a reminder about the consultations. Those are free. You can call the number on your screen. You can also email us, consultations@micasaresourcecenter.org. If it is in Spanish, you can go and email us at asesorías@micasaresourcecenter.org. I want to say thank you to everyone again. I hope you guys have a good night. Daniela, anything else you want to say?
I just want to thank the participants for being here, for staying with us, and as well as the panelists. Thank you for sharing your resources, your experiences. It's really helpful for the community. Thank you so much.
And speaking about resources, I also added a list of resources for this specific topic. So you're gonna find that on the presentation. Hopefully we can send it out as soon as possible so you can have it. And yeah, just check it out. You can also follow us on the different social media that we have here at Micasa. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Of course, you can also go to the website. Please keep yourself posted on the events. As I said, we have another panel discussion coming up. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, panelists. Thank you to the participants. I hope everybody have a good night.